Welcome back, podcast listeners. This is the We Know Ball podcast. Today we are teaming up with Underdog Fantasy to bring you guys an amazing deal. If you go ahead and sign up using their mobile app or their website and you use code WKB when you sign up, they will give you a deposit match of up to $100. That is an amazing deal. So take advantage of it while you can. Sign up, use code WKB, and get on to some daily fantasy. Welcome back, everybody, to the newest episode of the We Know Ball podcast. I got a special guest on today, one of my friends from back home, Robert. Go ahead, say what's up, man.
What's going on, everyone? Glad to be here.
Yeah, Robert, are you a Blazers fan? Are we gonna call you that? Or are you just gonna say Dame Lillard?
I'm a Dame Lillard fan.
All right. Would you say you're a Bulls fan then?
I'm a Bulls fan.
Okay. Um, before we get into today's episode, I want to talk to you guys. We have a giveaway going on Twitter for a free jersey of your choice. We hit our YouTube subscriber goal at 100, so we're about 21 followers away on Twitter before we give away that free jersey. So go ahead, follow us on Twitter, WKB podcast _. Follow our pinned tweet to get signed up for that jersey giveaway. But I want to get into tonight's game first. Let me pull up the box score real quick. The Suns beat the Nuggets 140-130 from a masterclass from Devin Booker. I'm going to start with Aryan first. Aryan, what was your initial thoughts on this game?
You already said Devin Booker. That's basically the story of tonight's game. He was unstoppable. He had 49 points, 10 assists. He was playing tremendous defense. It was really nice to have Chris Paul back. He had 17 points, 13 assists.
His first game back.
Yeah. The first half was kind of bad. They were in control of the game completely. But in the second half, we started to just take over. Mikhail started to pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty good second half all around. We definitely picked it up. But yeah, Devin Booker he went off tonight. I was really hoping for him to get that 50, but they wanted to give all those end of the game free throws to Chris Paul. So, Robert, what do you think of Devin Booker as a player from not a Suns fan, from just an NBA fan? What do you think of Devin Booker?
I've always liked Devin Booker's game. Personally, he just gives you that kind of similarity to Kobe, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
That mid range, get your own bucket, take over, things like that. Last year, my one question about Devin Booker was playoffs. Well, he's shown you that he can dominate in a playoff game. So now I feel a lot better now with Devin Booker that he can take pretty much his own team. I think he can be your number one on a team and win. That's my honest opinion. And I think playing with Chris Paul definitely helped in terms of just playmaking and also just getting to his spots easier. So I think he's also benefited from playing on the Sun this last 2 years. I think he's shown a lot of improvement.
Yeah, Chris Paul definitely has. I'll be the first to say, I know a lot of Suns fans hate Chris Paul getting Devin Booker's they take Devin Booker's accomplishments and give the credit to Chris Paul. Well, I think Chris Paul has elevated Devin Booker's game to a different. I think he taught him how to win, which is something he's you need to still know how to win, if that makes sense. Especially in the NBA, who's Shea. Once Shea is on a really good winning team, I think we're gonna have the same discussion that we had about Devin Booker.
And I would say that goes for, like you said, just other players in the league. I mean, you come in as a young NBA, young guy. I mean, you're probably going to be on a subpar team when you come in. So you don't know what it looks like on a daily basis, winning and like winning consistently. And then once you get those veterans who's been there and you're on that team, then everything begins to form. And I think that's what you're beginning to see with Devin Booker. So I think he hasn't hit his prime yet, but it's gonna be soon.
And when he gets to his prime, how much do you think he'll elevate his game?
Um,
Do you think he'll elevate it more from a scoring sense, or just?
I would like to see Devin Booker without Chris Paul. Let me say that.
I think a lot of
that floor general like Chris Paul, I want to see what his numbers will be before. Because I don't know. I mean, because with Chris Paul on the floor, you don't need him to go get 6 assists. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you need him to go get a bucket. Without him, depending on who he has on his team, he may have to be more like a, get my bucket, but also get my teammates involved from that position. I don't know. I'm interested to see what it looks like though. But I think he could easily give you 27 while still giving you 6 assists because the ball is gonna probably be moved through him a lot more. So
yeah,
I think his numbers will definitely inflate when he has his own team without Chris Paul. But it'll be good to see. I'm interested to see what it'll look like.
Me too. Aaron, what did you think about DeAndre Ayton today? Because I have a mixed opinion on him today.
Okay, so defensively, Jokic was kind of getting whatever he wanted to get. But the thing I'll say about that is that it's Nikola Jokic. He'll do that, you know. Offensively though, Ayton had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
He missed a few more shots than he usually misses, but he had 16 points. He was hitting his hook shot, the midi he was hitting.
I thought he had way more than 7 boards, like just watching the game. I did not think it was that low, but we were kind of evenly dispersed through our rebounds today. So I guess it didn't matter because that's been a problem for us recently is rebounding. But I'm a little upset because every time we see DeAndre Ayton go up against a center like that, like a top center, is usually his bigger games. And that's what I was kind of expecting today. But I guess when you have Book dropping 49, then he's not gonna, have that 25 plus that I wanted to see him have against Jokic, because Jokic isn't a very good defender regardless. Yeah. So, but his mid range, like his shot from outside the paint is getting so good. Yeah. Like sometimes I'd prefer him taking that over bullying someone down to the paint. But other than that, I'm excited for this game against Philly because I want to see what he does against Embiid. And I want to see what Book does to Harden too, because that's been a debate for a while too amongst shooting guards in the league.
Definitely.
I don't think Harden's going to guard Booker though.
No, I don't mean like matchup wise. I just mean like comparing stat wise, like who has a better game. Because Booker will probably guard Harden, I'm going to assume, unless we put Bridges on him.
I was probably Michael.
Yeah.
Matisse Thybulle will guard Devin Booker.
Yeah.
Which would be good matchups for both Harden and Booker. Yeah. Those are both good defenders, so.
Yeah. Other than that, there's not too much to talk about this game except, we kind of covered a lot. Was terrible first half from the Suns. Well, it wasn't even a terrible first half if you just look at like the scoring in each quarter. They were just scoring more than us, and we weren't really playing defense. But after, especially once we hit that fourth quarter, we always just take off. I think now we're, what are we, like 45-2 or something like that when going into the fourth quarter. So
something like that. Something crazy about this game was that both teams shot 60%. Both teams shot 47% from 3-point line.
Jeez. And the Nuggets are not a good 3-point shooting team, so that's surprising.
Both teams are just not missing.
Because I was looking on FanDuel earlier because I saw Jeff Green. He was like plus 200 to hit a three in the game. And I'm pretty sure he hit like two or three.
He had 3, yeah.
Yeah, that always happens against the Suns is these mediocre 3-point shooters want us to just start lighting it up against us. I don't know how, because it's not like we play bad perimeter defense.
Oh,
I don't know what it is.
They're hitting step backs and all that kind of stuff. Monte Morris hit 4, Bones Highland
Jesus
hit 4.
Christ. Bones Highland is a bucket, but he needs
Yeah.
to shut the fuck up. he's had like 2 good games in the NBA, and he's barking at Devin Booker and Chris Paul like he has some big dick or something. It's just it bothers me when people do that. I don't know.
I like it though. It's a good competitor.
Yeah, he was their leading scorer up until the fourth quarter when Jokic decided to finally start shooting.
He had 19 in the first half and he ended with 23.
Same thing with Cat. Cat started talking and had 3 points in the second half. So, yeah, I really want to get into today's main topic is that video from, I forgot her name already. I'm gonna go. Oh, it's like rose gold. I gotta fucking find this. She has some crazy name.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Rose gold Onwude. We all saw the video. Robert, I'm gonna let you go first from like an outside, like a non-Suns fan looking in. I want to know what your opinion is because I feel like me and Aryan's opinion are probably both going to be the same, and it's probably going to differ from yours in some way.
So I just want to clarify some of the things she said. So the question was, is he a legitimate MVP candidate, right?
Oh yeah, does he deserve to be in the MVP talks?
MVP the talks. Okay. Yeah. And her talking points was he's not stylish enough.
So stupid. That's not that I hate that. We just need
to what else did she say?
Not stylish enough. He's not as impactful. Like she thinks that if you take him off the floor, the Suns aren't hurt as much.
Okay. She also said statistically his numbers don't stand out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then her last point was he doesn't play both ends of the floor.
All right. Let me ask you this question before I get into my opinion. When you guys are fully healthy, when Chris Paul's on the floor, who is your best player?
Devin Booker, 100%.
You both agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. See, this is why
let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. Devin Booker is our best player, but Chris Paul is our most important player.
I think that's a lot of the reason why he doesn't get the talks. Because he's not the clear number one. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't necessarily agree with that. The stylish, I think is, I told you about that in our group chat. He's not, like, his game doesn't like project out to you, but he does everything right. That shouldn't hurt him because Kawhi Leonard is kind of the same way. You know what I'm saying? And everybody still had him in the MVP talk. So that part I don't agree with at all. Statistically, it don't jump out as much as like a Jokic, an Embiid, a Giannis, but it's also because those are also more big men, so they're going to get more rebounds. Their field goal percentage is going to be higher. Jokic is really like out there by himself. Embiid was until he has Harden, but he's still putting up monster numbers even still. And then Giannis just being Giannis. I mean, there's not really much else you could say about Giannis. So statistically, I still think he's there. Like, 24.6.
Yeah, he's around 25 right now.
25, 5 and 5. Like that.
I think it's like 25, 5, and it's like 4.9 or something like that. So 25, 5, and 5 if we round it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think he should be in the MVP talks.
Because this whole season, on every time the NBA updates their MVP ladder, I don't think he's been above 8 at all.
No.
And the people above him just don't make sense to me.
I would say there's probably a clear 3, in my opinion.
That's what we've been saying on this
above him.
podcast this whole
I
season.
think, well, before this like losing streak that the Bulls had, I would have had him and DeMar DeRozan neck and neck, like between 4 to 7 in that range. Should he be in the talks? Yes, he should. I don't agree with the stylish thing. I think that's bad. That's a bad look. Statistically, it's there, but it just doesn't stand out as much as the like Giannis and Embiid. And then what was the other talking point?
Doesn't play both ends of the floor, which I think is the most outrageous one.
Yeah.
Because people are going off of this narrative.
That doesn't make sense to me because we've had MVP candidates who don't play both ends of the floor.
Matt Barnes said it perfect. Steve Nash. It's a perfect example.
James Harden is a perfect example. Nobody is going to sit here and tell me James Harden's a good defender because he's not. Yeah. Kevin Durant is not a great defender. So I think Devin Booker has definitely improved. He tries on the defensive end. I'm not going to say he's a great defender, but he's good. Like he competes.
He's definitely made a big jump from 3 years ago. Once he started having teammates he can trust, I think that's why his numbers went down too. He doesn't have to put his all on the offensive end. So now he can make a bigger impact defensively.
I think, in my opinion, I think the 2 things that hurt Devin Booker is, one, you guys call him their best player, the best player. I think he's their best player. But nationally or worldwide, I don't think people look at that.
You think they're still thinking Chris Paul?
Yeah. Like, I don't think it's like clear cut to a lot of people because it can be Devin Booker one day and then Chris Paul the other day that can take over. And then I think the other thing is just the narrative in general. I think that just hurts Devin Booker. I mean, it shouldn't. I think they should look at, I mean, I don't like a lot of the voting that they do anyways in NBA. So, but I think those are the 2 things that hurt him. I mean, it's tough. Like, I think him and Donovan Mitchell are going to get looked over a lot throughout their career. So
why do you think the narrative has changed so much about one, Devin Booker, and about 2, the MVP? Because both narratives have changed. Because before Devin Booker started winning, they said they want to see him do what he does on a winning team. And he is 10 games above the 2 seed in the West and still is getting, his stats don't matter now. His winning doesn't matter. He doesn't have the stats. When his stats aren't that much different from.
No, actually, he was like when they were saying this, saying that stuff, he was averaging about 26, 4 and 6. Mm-hmm. And now currently he's averaging 26, 5 and 5.
Oh, so he's at 26 now.
Yeah, and his shooting percentage is exactly the same with better defense. So
his 3-point percentage is the same?
Let me look at the 3-point percentage.
Because he was shooting like 40 earlier this year, right?
Yeah, he was at like 41. I think he's still around there. He might be at like 38 or 30.
I think
his 3-point percentage is the highest of his career. Other than 2017, it was like 0.3 higher.
I think that's the big thing that people are missing in this whole situation.
Is his efficiency?
Like,
yeah,
he's putting up similar numbers, but on better, like efficient, like he's doing it more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's improved while being on a better team. But what was the question again?
Why do you think the narrative changed? What made the narrative change?
It's just what the NBA wants to push. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, there was a stint when LeBron should have been MVP every year, but you can't give it to him every year.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. Like it's hard. It's hard to say because you're not in there. I mean, I'm not. I think Devin Booker should be in the talk of MVP. I'm not saying he's the MVP this year, but I think he should get more love than he does.
Okay, so like the second part of the question, like the whole MVP narrative, what made you think that changed? Because it used to be the best player on the best team. That's what it was for the longest time. That's basically why Steve Nash won it. He had 60 wins on that season. He averaged like, what was it? Let me see what his numbers were that MVP season.
Or something, I think.
Yeah, he had like 16 and something. I don't think he scored more than 20 a game.
No, it definitely wasn't over 20. It was like 16 and 11.
16, that's what I thought. Yeah. And he won back to back.
Yeah, so it was like 18 and 11 and 16 and 11.
So
I
feel like the last time it wasn't the best player on the best team was Westbrook, but then it kind of went back to that when Giannis won his first.
And then Jokic last year.
Yeah, and then
wasn't.
I mean, I think it's just the narrative, whatever the NBA is trying to push that year. I mean, when Steve Nash was playing, the game wasn't as inflated as it is today.
Yeah.
Where everybody is putting up monster numbers. It was still more of like a even team game. Like you had your guys, but nobody was putting up. Like there wasn't as many guys putting up the amount of numbers you see now back then.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Numbers are inflated. Like seeing 11 assists now is like, all right. Yeah. Like you kind of expect that, just how fast paced and how much points are getting put up now in today's game. I don't know. It's just the narrative that they're trying to push. Like I think Luka Doncic is too high. Every year he's been in the NBA. Jokic deserves to be up there. I think they've pushed the Embiid thing a lot. Like I think they're really trying to get him to get an MVP. Giannis deserves to be up there, but I think it's just all narrative. Like if the narrative's there for the NBA, everybody loves them. Like Steph is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's whatever the NBA is trying to push. It does change every year. Nobody really knows exactly what the criteria is for MVP or who's deserving of it. I think it should literally be who was the most valuable player to their team that year.
Yeah, and I can see the case for Embiid this year really because they're like tied for second or they're half game back of second in the East. But the thing with the Nuggets is that they're sixth, and the last person to win MVP as a sixth seed was Russell Westbrook.
But I think with that, you have to take into account that nobody on the Nuggets right now, besides Jokic, is scoring more than 15 points a game, that's insane. I'm pretty sure I saw a stat today. They're the only team with only one player above 15 points per game. So,
and I think Jokic has a lot higher usage percentage too than Embiid because he does a lot of the playmaking as well as the scoring.
Yeah. But
again, I mean, the efficient numbers that Embiid is putting up this year is insane. So I do understand why Embiid is in the conversation as well.
Yeah.
I think they're pushing it a lot recently, in recent years at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it'll end up being Jokic this year, but I could also see it being Embiid with how much they're trying to push it. I think that'll.
I thought Giannis was in the lead right now.
No, it's Embiid, Jokic, Giannis.
Giannis also has a shot because he's putting up crazy numbers again, and the Bucks are the 2nd seed. They're almost the 1 seed. So
I can definitely see it going to 3. And I want to, especially after today with all the media, I think it opened a lot of people's eyes to Devin Booker because we've had people like Isaiah Thomas. He's been preaching it a lot on ESPN about him being MVP. We just saw Kyrie and Ja Morant tweeted out that he deserves to be MVP. So I think it's gonna boost it up, and I think that just might open their eyes. So I can maybe see like a surprise coming in where D-Book gets a lot more votes than we think he's gonna get.
Oh, okay, I thought you was about to say something else.
No, I don't think he's gonna win. I don't think he's gonna win it. I don't think so.
No, I hope he gets a little more love for, like, I like Devin Booker's game, so I do hope he gets a little more love.
Do you think at some point in his career he could win one? Do you think he's like the player to, because I feel like Ja Morant is a player you can see winning one from like the NBA's eyes. Like they push.
Ja Morant's another one that they're gonna try to push the narrative hard on.
Yeah.
And if Zion Williamson ever comes back, him too. I think Jason Tatum's another one that they're gonna try to push heavy. But I mean, yeah, Devin Booker has a chance. He's on a year-to-year basis, he's a top 10 player in the NBA. So yeah, he definitely has a chance to win one at one point in his career. But again, sad to say, but the narrative just has to be right.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
I think for the narrative to really flip and for him to get more love, they need to win a ring this year or within the next couple of years.
I think that will definitely help his case. And that's
and I think that's what's hurting his case right now. I forgot someone was talking about it, some analyst, I don't know, but he said that since the Suns were up 2-0 in the finals and then blowing that lead, he thinks that that's hurting Devin Booker's case right now.
That's absurd.
You think so?
Who said that?
I don't remember who it was. Some analyst. I feel like I might have heard it on a podcast. I'm trying to think who. It might actually no, it was King of the Fourth Quarter. It was on his last video.
I don't think that should affect his outtake. I don't think it should affect how he's getting looked this year because one, he showed up in the NBA Finals.
Dropped like, 40 points like back to back.
Yeah, it's not like he was only scoring 15 on 15 shots. Like he was playing well. He was just outplayed by Giannis. Like you got to tip your cap to him.
Yeah, you have to.
They also had a hell of a game 6, or game 5 on the road. Is that when he dropped 40 or however much he had?
Yeah,
I think it was game 5.
Yeah.
I think Giannis had to take over game 6.
Yeah, I know Giannis had the 50 piece to close the game out in game 6, but Jrue Holiday was the key factor in game 5.
Chris Middleton also had 40 in game 4.
Chris Middleton, the Bucks just outperformed the Suns. I mean, DeAndre Ayton underperformed too.
He had an amazing playoffs until we got to the finals.
Yeah.
But that also comes with playing against Giannis.
Yeah, I mean that's a bad. I told you before that series that's a bad matchup for DeAndre Ayton because Giannis is just a lot quicker. He's going to extend him. That's a blow by. I said that was a bad matchup.
I was high on the DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah, he did. He had a very, very good playoff run before that.
A historical one. He broke a few records. I'm pretty sure. So
one of the most efficient. I was saying the major thing that should help Devin Booker is that those 2 games in the playoffs last year where Chris Paul had COVID. The first one he dropped a 40-point triple-double, and the second one we won. I'm not sure exactly what his stats were, but we won that game with him being the main guy.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. If somebody's looking back at the finals and saying that's hurting his case this year for MVP, that's not a good take at all because they didn't watch the finals then because he performed. There's only so much you can do in a team game. Like,
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly what his quote was because I'm kind of curious what he exactly said.
But the thing with the narrative though is that he had the empty stats narrative throughout his entire first 4 or 5 years because he wasn't winning, and then as soon as Chris Paul comes, everyone's starting to credit Chris Paul. So he's always had like a negative like connotation, I guess, with his name or
Yeah.
negative. Yeah.
yeah, I don't. For me, I don't want to look at his first however many years he was in the NBA because his team wasn't good. Now, you can kind of argue that it's empty because you do see other guys who get in for say Damian Lillard when his team has never been good, but he still makes the playoffs, even though it's an AC, they get bounced majority of the years. But like, I won't say they're empty stats because his team. I mean, the Suns organization until last year was bad. Let's be honest. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody saw them winning at any point. But then they made moves. Guys played well. Chris Paul came in, and you guys turned it around. So
Yeah. I just didn't understand the empty stats like when they were saying it because like you can just tell when someone's good at basketball. You know, you could tell when someone's a winner.
yeah,
He's just one of those guys.
and I don't. Devin Booker to me, like, okay, for example, I think Bradley Beal's an empty stats guy. He gives you 30 points on 23 shots. That's empty stats to me. And they lose consistently. It's Devin Booker, he shoots efficiently, he like competes, he's trying to win. There's only so much you can do with your team. That's not to me, that's not empty stats. So
yeah, there's only so much one player can do on a basketball court.
yeah, like everybody can't be LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a lot of the problem too, is you get a guy like LeBron who gets teams that, on paper don't look good, but still pushes them in the playoffs, deep runs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not everybody's LeBron. So like you can't put everybody on his pedestal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of the problem too. It's just I don't know. Like that's just my opinion though.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think that I understand the whole Chris Paul debate last year with like Devin Booker I still think Devin Booker should have been in the talks last year. Maybe not as an MVP candidate, but top 5 to top 10 in voting.
Last year?
Yeah. And I think that Chris Paul being there and then what they did, I think
Chris Paul had a narrative. He
exactly.
comes into the organization.
The first year that he just came in and we went to the finals. So
I think he had the narrative for it. Like the narrative was perfect for Chris Paul.
Right. But like Kendrick Perkins said when Chris Paul just went out with this injury, he said he wanted to see Devin Booker do something without Chris Paul. And he did it last year and he did it this year. So I think that the whole Chris Paul argument that we had earlier was that like that Chris Paul kind of gets the achievements for Devin Booker's play. I think that should be thrown out the window now completely.
I think Devin Booker winning a ring will change a lot of the narratives and how they look at him. Because right now, to me, he's in that boat with Dame. You know what I'm saying? Like,
really? I'm surprised you said that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, Devin Booker had no business being a reserve for the All-Star game this year.
Well,
That happened
he wasn't a starter, but he made it. He wasn't a reserve. He was a reserve last year. He got in on a
last
reserve.
year. Okay, he had no business last year being a reserve.
Yeah.
He had no business being off the All-Star team 3 years ago or whenever that year was.
Mhm.
But that's happened to Dame. You know what I'm saying? So like like I think for guys like Devin Booker, Damian Lillard, guys in that boat, getting that ring puts you over that like obstacle
Mhm.
how
Yeah.
people see you because they get underlooked all the time, and it's annoying because I mean those are top players in the league, but they don't get the love that they deserve,
Right.
and they only get it from their peers. So
Which should be the main opinions that matter, honestly.
peers, yeah, I don't. It doesn't make sense to me about a lot of the things that the NBA do, but it's hard to keep arguing it.
Yeah, every single year. Um, we kind of I wanna switch the topic over a little bit. I want to start since you're a Dame Lillard fan. I wanna get into that a little bit. Where I know you've talked a lot about you want him off out of Portland.
Bad. I've been
Okay.
preaching this for the last 5 years.
Well, I don't know about Arian, but I would love Damian Lillard on the Suns. I would 100% do a trade, CP, and we'll probably have to add. We can I'd throw in Shamit, and Dario, and
We'd have to
some
throw in
picks.
the Cam Johnson probably.
I think it depends on if he asks for a trade or not. Because if he asks for a trade, then his value automatically goes down.
Yeah.
Well, he has a no trade clause, so he's gonna have to.
So that's why I don't think we're gonna have to give up a crazy amount. And I think Chris Paul has a different type of value than most players. He doesn't have that. He's not young, but he can change the culture around your franchise.
I just want Damian Lillard on a championship contending team. That's all I want to see. He's to me, when I see Damian Lillard play with the Portland Trailblazers, you have CJ McCollum who puts up numbers.
He's not there no more though.
Performs when he needs to. You have Nurkic, who I think is probably one of the most overrated players in the NBA. I think he gets way too much love that he deserves. And then everybody else is in and out every year.
Yeah.
And they don't perform. And CJ McCollum and Nurkic are usually out. So Dame is usually carrying the team every year. I want to just see him with someone who's a consistent number two, who's going to help him when he needs it. And then I would like to see what happens. I'm not going to say he's going to win a ring, but I want to see him competing when he has a team that can back him up.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it would be, I don't think the Suns would ever, I don't think we're going to trade. I think Chris Paul is going to end up retiring here.
Yeah.
Especially if we win a ring. But
I don't see the Suns getting Dame.
Where would you like to see him go?
You know, honestly, I thought there was a good shot for him going to 76ers before Harden.
Well, you never know. Harden might end up wanting to be on his own team eventually.
I could see the Lakers trying to make a move because AD is just, you just don't know anymore with Anthony Davis. You know, honestly, I don't think it'll happen, but I think the Nets and Portland can do a straight up trade with Kyrie and Dame. Or I would like to see him in Boston.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But I would like to see a Jalen Brown Dame swap.
Oh my
kind.
God. If he goes to Boston, that's gonna
Even
be
Tatum.
so dangerous. That's not
I
even
think-
gonna
Because like if they did a Dame and Jalen Brown swap of some kind, whatever pieces needed to be thrown in, like Dame, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Robert Williams, all together, I think that's a really dangerous team.
No, I think
I
I
think
agree.
they're winning a chip. They're winning a championship.
I agree. No, that's a good team right there. And I mean, obviously Jalen Brown is probably gonna have to be in that trade,
Yeah,
but you would hope to keep him. If they did, that's a bad trade for Portland. But
really bad.
uh, yeah, no, I would like to see him on a better like contending team for
And
sure.
you mentioned that you want him next to a consistent number 2. Would Jason Tatum become a number 2 then, or do you think Dame would take a step back?
I think that would kind of be like Chris Paul, Devin Booker, kind of, in my opinion. We're like,
KD and Kyrie.
yeah, like you'll see one of them take over one game, one of them take over another game. I think Dame will be the number one with like late in the fourth quarter because obviously we've seen him hit those shots
Mhm.
at the end of games. So, I mean, if it comes down to who's going to get the ball in the last second, it's going to be Dame. But I think on a night to night basis, I think it just depends on who's the hot hand, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, because Dame, if you watch Damian Lillard play, he gets up 20 shots, but he's really trying to get his teammates involved before he start. Like, there's a lot of like,
It's hard when your teammates are all bums.
yeah, like I'm sitting in there like, bro, what are you doing? Just shoot the ball. But like, if you watch him, there'll be like 5-6 minute spans where he doesn't get a shot up. Like he's just passing the ball. So like, I think him and Jason Tatum can work because of that. Like Jason Tatum can do his thing and stuff, and then Dame would get on his spurt, will do what he does. So it'll
Well,
work.
I think that Jason Tatum, Dame Lillard, it would be just like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, but it'd be like a Jaylen Brown who's a lot more consistent.
And
The
a
thing I would
playmaker.
say, the thing I would say is that see, like you were saying, Dame and CJ, but CJ is not as consistent. So they basically have to guard Dame at half court if when he's hot. So imagine how much that opens up the floor for Jason Tatum because they won't be able to double team Dame at half court if Jason Tatum's over there on the other side, which would just make it easier for both of them by a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Even with Rob Will and Marcus Smart on the court too, you can't double team with.
Yeah, you can't double them at half.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But I also think just Dame's is just a better playmaker than Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I agree.
He's a true point guard that can just score, you know. So I think that works out for them because it takes the ball out of Marcus Smart's hand. He can kind of just be like a catch and shoot guy. I think his numbers will be a little better because of that. But I think Robert Williams will benefit the most out of it too, because he's gonna get a lot of easy dunks. Easy dunks.
Yep.
I was just thinking I wouldn't mind a trade to Boston, a CP trade to Boston either. I'm on the train of trade CP probably next season, especially if we don't win a chip.
But for who?
For I don't know. A lot. We were talking about this at one point, but there's a bunch of different guards that I would take. Like I don't think the Spurs would do it, but like DeJounte Murray.
They're not giving him up.
Yeah. Or who else have we talked? I just want to get rid of his contract before we can't trade it.
Yeah, personally, I just think though his value will be very low. I know what you're saying, like how he can change the culture and everything, but just like you might get a year or two out of him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think the team is giving up their
Yeah.
like young guard
Yeah.
for years of Chris Paul.
No. I agree with that. I was just throwing names out there.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we were talking about this last pod. Malcolm Brogdon would be like a perfect case or perfect person to put in that conversation because the Pacers for like in a Chris Paul trade because the Pacers have already talked about getting rid of him.
And they have two really good guards.
Tyrese and Chris Duarte. So
the Pacers have Karis LeVert.
No, Chris Duarte and Tyrese Halliburton.
Who is Karis LeVert playing for now?
The Cavs. He got traded.
So I don't think Malcolm
honestly,
Brogdon.
I don't know if this will ever happen, but I would like Darius Garland on your team.
We've talked about that before too, but I don't.
I think Karis would be a good fit for you guys. Like he could definitely like. He's not listed as a point guard, but he can run the one, and that's a longer. Helps your defense out tremendously. Like I think that'll be a good fit for you guys too. He don't have to start and come off the bench, but
yeah, Karis LeVert's like one of my favorite players. So like I would love to get him on the team. Even he could run shooting guard. Booker can run point guard because we've seen him make running the point guard too, which that's a good option.
We've talked about this a few times on the pod, and I know how Rob feels about Cameron Payne, but we've talked about it multiple times. We're a lot more comfortable now after Chris Paul leaves to give the keys to Cam Payne for a few years.
Yeah.
Look at him putting his hands in his head like he hates Cam Payne. But we saw how good he played when Chris Paul was out these last 6 weeks.
I will say Cam Payne, I told you last year I needed to see it consistently. And he has played well this year. And so I will give him the benefit of the doubt. And I will give him some love for that. Cam Payne cannot be your starting point guard on a championship team. I am sorry. I'm going to stick with it.
I disagree.
I don't. Because he's benefited playing with Chris Paul. I agree. He has improved playmaking. I think he's figured out where he can get his shots, kind of like Devin Booker. I think he's figured out how he can be effective in a game. But this is my problem. He also loses. I think he hurts you in spurts of games.
I think
sometimes he gets beside himself.
Yeah.
And he shoots you out of games sometimes.
And what I told them on the podcast too, I think once Chris Paul left, like that first game, he was super high paced, like out of control, and something switched and he completely slowed down his game, like completely slowed everything down, and it made him 10 times better. And I think if he can do that consistently, I don't think it matters what point guard we have, because we have Book, McHale, Cam Johnson, DeAndre Ayton. I don't think our point guard spot is as important as it used to be.
Yeah. We just need Cam Payne we need him to play make and hit his shots every once in a while, his because sometimes he does take over, which we don't need him to do that, but it's like just play make, let everyone else do what they do.
And he's been lights out from three this year. He is shooting so good from three.
Yeah. The only reason why I say he can't be is because I feel like in your guys' system, like the Suns, the way you guys are built, you kind of need like a good playmaking point guard.
I can see that.
Like you don't need a Chris Paul, but you need that, because I think DeAndre Ayton benefits from it a lot.
I disagree. I think I'm going off these last 6 weeks where we didn't have Chris Paul. It was DeAndre Ayton was playing better than when he was playing. I think JaVale McGee and Bismack Biyombo benefited way more from Chris Paul, but DeAndre Ayton played better without CP. He dropped almost 40 against the Bucks and almost 40 against
Well, you know
Yes,
how I
against
feel
the
about the
Timberwolves.
regular season.
Well, okay, we can go out that he had monster games against the Lakers, Clippers, and the Nuggets, and Chris Paul was hurt for a lot of those.
But I don't think that'll be consistently.
The difference is that he does have a really good mid-range shot.
Yeah, now he has a really good mid-range too.
And I agree with that. I do think he's improved on that. I probably watched a half of the Suns game this year, and I will say his jump shot looked like it was confident. I will agree with that.
Sometimes he takes it too much. I'd be getting scared.
I do agree that having a playmaking point guard would still help out, obviously, just because of the pick and roll. I think he can really take advantage of the pick and roll, catching the lobs and all that stuff. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and I just don't know what point guards are going to be available to fill that role, that are worth filling that role. Like, I don't want to get someone who's not going to be better than Campaign.
You know who I can think of someone right now?
Who?
Mike Conley.
That's not bad. That's actually not a bad.
But
he's just getting a little older.
He's getting old too. That's the problem. I don't think it's going to be good for us to switch point guards every 2 years, because I think Mike Conley's 33, 34 right now.
Yeah. The main name I've seen on Suns Twitter is De'Aaron Fox. I know obviously that's a little bit higher caliber than what we're talking about.
I don't like De'Aaron Fox on the Suns. I like De'Aaron Fox's game, but I don't like him on the Suns.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
If we get him, he would have to have a terrible first half of the season again, to where his trade value is at his lowest. Because I thought he was gone this year. I thought they were trading him this year.
The only benefit we would have from him, really, he's a good playmaker, obviously. His biggest benefit would be attacking the rim, because we don't have any guys really that really attack the rim, drive a lot, other than Campaign, I guess. That'll open up the floor a little bit more. But yeah, his jump shot is not as good, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I like De'Aaron Fox on the Suns. I mean, it's not terrible, because I mean he can play defense, kind of like you said. I mean, he drives to the rim. I like De'Aaron Fox's game. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if he fits on the Suns. I'd have to see that personally.
Yeah, definitely.
Before I can make that decision.
I'm trying to think of. I would love Ricky Rubio back, but he's also getting old.
I'll tell you who would have been a good pickup before he kind of made a name for himself this year was Anthony Simons.
Yeah.
Like, that boy's gonna be good. Like, now that because Dame's been out, he's been balling this year.
I don't think him and Dame are gonna work well together though.
No,
I think undersized point guards.
I think this was the best thing that happened for Portland and Dame, because I think he's the future for Portland. I think they just need to let Dame go and let him try to get a ring.
Who do you think it's more Dame's decision to stay now? Like, do you think the front office is trying to get rid of him?
If the moves they've been since the end of the Nuggets series to now, that whole summer, the moves that they made, they have only gotten worse. Like, their team right now looks like they want to lose.
The Norman Powell trade was really bad. The Norman Powell and Robert.
That was a terrible trade.
Yeah.
And Joe Ingles was a good pickup, but it was right after he tore his ACL. So what is he gonna how much is that gonna do for you?
Yeah.
So it's like Dame said, he's only gonna be in Portland if they're in contention to win. And right now they're not.
Not even close.
I think they just look like they're ready to rebuild. I think it's time for both of them to move on. And
they traded away his best friend, CJ.
CJ. I think Nurkic is gone after this year. I don't think Nurkic is coming back. Like he doesn't look happy there. I just don't. I don't see why Dame would stay in Portland at this point.
Maybe hopefully that's something we'll see this summer is him getting shipped
Yeah.
off.
I would be very happy.
It would just be hard to see if I don't think he could go to the Lakers because I don't see what trade they would get that would benefit the Trailblazers in any way. They have no young
Davis.
talent.
I mean, Anthony
Go
Davis.
AD.
Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook makes them somewhat of a contender.
You think they would give up both for Dame? Like,
Why
do you think
not?
the Lakers would do that?
Why wouldn't they?
Well, you're giving up a 28-year-old. How old is AD? 28, 27, 28?
Mm-hmm.
You're giving him up, which he's never been terrible.
He's probably
as a
29 now. Because
Yeah.
him and Dame was in the same draft class, and Dame was 32. And Dame wasn't a senior when he got drafted. He might be 29, 30 now.
Okay. Well, he's never been bad as a Laker. He's just injury riddled, and I think
But that's the problem.
so. Like, where are they going to get cap space to sign anybody? Like, how are they going to have? If they do that, I think it's just going to be the same problem they have now. Is they have no depth at all. Like, it's literally just going to be all the load on Dame and LeBron, and LeBron's going to be 39.
But you get a 3-point shooter, someone who can take the load away from LeBron when he's not on the court. Because right now, I think we can all agree Dame is a better player than Russell Westbrook is.
Yeah.
100%.
So
Anthony Simons is a better player than Russell Westbrook is right now.
yeah, but I'm like, I think Dame and I think they could go get a older veteran for cheap. It's like they would have. I mean,
JaVale
they would have to
goes
move
back.
some things around for sure. Like they would like. I think that keeps Melo there, and I think Melo's been good off the bench for them this year. I think. I think Malik Monk has played well this year. I think they could do something and they could compete. And it would also mean that Dame would probably finish his career in LA.
I could honestly see Portland saying yes to just AD and maybe like Taylor Horton Tucker and some picks for Dame. Because I don't think they're not gonna want to win right now. And I think Russell Westbrook and AD are gonna give you too many wins. Like they're gonna be looking to get higher up in the draft.
Yeah.
You know who else I wouldn't be mad the Dame gets traded to, but I could never see it.
I feel like I know what you're gonna say, and I wanna see. You're gonna say the Mavs?
No, absolutely not. I don't want to.
I thought you were about to say team up with Luke.
I was gonna say Utah.
That wouldn't be too bad. Because I don't think me and Arian have talked about it. I don't think Donovan Mitchell is gonna be there much longer.
Yeah.
No, I don't think his career right now he's benefiting playing in Utah. Kind of just like Dame. It's just a small market. And he's just not getting the love he deserves.
Are not on good terms. Or like they might be, but like, you know, I don't think he really likes playing with Rudy Gobert. Because he's so limited on offense that like it does not help him out at all.
Yeah, I feel like the Jazz team has been they haven't really made any moves in 6 years. Like I feel like the team is just like Joe Ingles is the only move they made. I feel like everybody else, I feel like they've been there for a while now.
Yeah.
They just haven't gotten any better.
I don't even know what to do to that team because they're still always up there, like in seeding. They're usually a top 4 seed at least.
They have good defenders and good shooters to surround with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And then
lose to in the playoffs last year.
Who'd they lose to?
Yeah.
The Clippers, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That was a bad loss.
Yeah, they
Because
were up
Kawhi
3.
wasn't there, right? Or was that the first round?
So I think they were up. They were up something, and then Kawhi got hurt. They were up 3-1, and I think the Clippers won.
Right, because they played.
So
The
they were
Clippers
up
played the
3-1 and then Kawhi
Masters.
got hurt?
No, I think he got hurt in one of the earlier games.
Oh, okay.
But they ended up going up 3-1 with Kawhi out, and they still lost.
Yeah, that's not. They've blown some series that they should have won,
Yeah,
and that's not.
And I feel bad for Gobert because I think he gets so much hate, but I think he's one of the more impactful players on that team.
I think if he plays in the 80s, 90s, his game would be looked a lot. It would be looked upon more. Like
Needs
He's like a Mutombo.
like they would like he would be looked as more of like a Hall of Fame player. But because he plays in today's game,
Mhm.
he has no offensive ability whatsoever. He's a good defender. I'll give him that. But what is that really gonna do for you when you're supposed to be a superstar?
Well, yeah, I think he is overpaid, but he eliminates any type of drive to the basket when he's in the paint. No one's going to drive into the basket when they see Rudy Gobert in there. So you basically have to rely on your shooters that whole entire game.
See, Jarrett Allen has a similar play style, I guess, or like his defense is somewhat comparable. But the thing with Jarrett Allen is that he has a hook shot. He has a little, like somewhat of a midi, I guess. Like
Yeah, he has a
it.
little more offensive ability than Rudy Gobert does. I think that's what hurt. I think that's what hurt Rudy Gobert. See, I mean, if it's not a lob, he's probably not getting a bucket.
What does people like that do in the off season? Like
It's the same thing I asked. Why does LeBron consistently shoot 65% from the free throw line every year? Why aren't you working on that in the off season?
Just different in the game.
I guess.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I mean, yeah, no, it is for sure. I mean,
at some point,
go look at Ben Simmons shooting in practice.
Yeah,
he hits like 7 threes in a row, and then he gets into the game. He doesn't even shoot one.
I wonder if that's going to change since he's out of Philly, because the Philly fans are so critical. I wonder, but I guess Brooklyn's not even that much better.
Listen,
fan base.
It just doesn't matter what team he plays for anymore. I think he's so like down bad. I don't think he can. I think what hurts Ben Simmons the most is that he's a point guard. I don't like if he was a power forward. I don't think anybody would look at him differently.
And I think that's what he'll be in Brooklyn.
My whole thing about Ben Simmons is if you're gonna be labeled as a superstar, then I need you to play like one. Mm-hmm. I don't need you passing up layups when Trae Young is on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's my whole criticism about Ben Simmons is play like a superstar.
And the main thing is that there's videos of him shooting in open gym and practice and all that stuff. It's just that in the game he doesn't even attempt it. That's the thing. Like, if you at least try, then the fans will have a little bit more respect. People have more respect for you because they know you're not just gonna drive every time.
Yeah, at least give them something to worry about.
Yeah, because he showed, you can see his form is good. He's pretty consistent with it, in the open gyms and stuff. So it's if you at least shoot it, they have to come out and play you at the key, which is that helps you out more than anything.
I think that's what makes the Suns team seem so deep. Is I don't think we have one player outside of Bismack Biyombo that isn't scared to shoot a three. Like we see JaVale McGee all the time pulling up. Whether he fucking bricks it or makes it, he's gonna shoot if he's open. He's gonna shoot if he's open.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I better not see JaVale McGee shoot a three.
Oh, it's when he makes it, people go crazy. When I was at the Bulls game in February,
he hit one.
Oh yeah, he took one at the top of the key. He just pulled up right away because Vucevic wasn't walked up right to it and just cashed it. Walked away confident as hell.
I'm not gonna lie, I would have been mad as hell.
See,
Just
but
really quickly, going back just to the point guard, the Suns' future point guard thing. So just a couple names, like Lonzo Ball, uh, T.J. McConnell, Monte Morris. These are just some names I'm throwing out there.
these are upcoming free agents, right?
No, not going free agents. I'm just
Okay.
saying down the line in the next couple of years. Like Derek White, Spencer Dinwiddie, Mike Conley, like you said, Jalen Brunson, Malcolm Brogdon. These are just some guys I think we could possibly get.
There's a few
I think-
names in there I'd love.
Yeah,
I think the Bulls would be stupid if they let Lonzo Ball go.
Yeah.
Who was the third name?
I said Jalen Brunson, T.J.
I like
McConnell.
Jalen Brunson on the Suns a lot, actually.
I like Derek
Uh,
White. You said Derek White.
I think Derek White could be good with the Suns.
I
I do
like
think
TJ
Lonzo
McConnell.
Ball is the perfect fit for them.
Yeah.
But I would not be happy if the Bulls got rid of him.
Yeah,
God, that would make us so much better. Oh my God.
No,
Especially
Lonzo
with-
Ball would be the perfect fit.
There's something I was gonna say. I'm trying to think of it now. I don't know. As of right now, I'm okay with Campaign being our starter until we find a more competent one. Especially if that means us like developing Aaron Holiday more to the point to where he can be a starter.
Oh, y'all do have Aaron Holiday.
So right now,
No.
I'm still taking Campaign over Aaron Holiday.
Start Holiday.
You think so?
Start Holiday.
I think after he develops more, I would definitely be more open to that. But he's very streaky right now, and I don't know if that's just him. You know, he didn't play tonight. Oh,
Yeah.
we have Chris Paul back anyway tonight. That's why
Oh, Chris Paul's back?
he can't. Today was his first night back. Yeah, so that's why he didn't play. I didn't think about that just till.
Did he
just
start or did he come off the bench?
No, he started.
He had 17 and 13 actually today.
He played 30 minutes. So, but I saw a thing on Twitter and it was like, it was a finger injury. It wasn't like any leg injury. So they didn't see a problem with playing him his normal minutes.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The thing I was saying with Aaron Holiday is I think right now he's just not trying to do too much because, that's not his role. I think if he had like a bigger shot, I guess, down the line, he wouldn't be too bad because he's a really good defender. He hustles a lot. He can pass. He has a pretty good floater. His 3-point percentage is actually really good this year.
He's shooting 50% since he came to the Suns from 3 on high volume.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Holiday could be a very good NBA point guard. A very good NBA point guard.
I think he's going to be his brother's kryptonite if we meet them in the finals.
Yeah.
I disagree.
You think, you disagree? You think Drew Holiday's offensive bag is that good?
No, I think his defensive bag is that good.
Okay, I was saying it is. I think Aaron Holiday can hold his brother from his defense.
How tall is Aaron Holiday?
Is he 6'3", 6'1", or 6'3"? One of those two numbers.
Drew's like 6'6", right?
Let's see.
I think Drew's a bigger point guard.
Aaron Holiday is 6 foot exactly.
Drew Holiday 6'3".
Okay. I think Drew Holiday just has the experience. That's why.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But I still think with them being brothers, they probably working out every year.
No, I do think Aaron Holiday will play with
I think he'll know more about Drew Holiday than anyone else on the floor.
I'm trying to think of the word. Like remember when Portland played Golden State when Seth Curry was on Portland and he had a really good series against Steph actually. I think playing against his brother will bring the best out of him. And
Mm-hmm.
so I do think like it will be competitive. Like
Especially his older brother.
Yeah, like you obviously want to dog him. So
Yeah.
I do think it'll be competitive. I think you'll get the best Aaron Holiday, but I just think Drew's experience is just gonna like take over at some point.
I think that Drew's impact to the Bucks is 20 times higher than Aaron Holiday's is to the Suns.
Well, yeah.
So I think that depending on how much, like if we put Aaron Holiday in some type of situation where we needed a stop, I think he would stop his brother 100%. And like even if it was like a quarter stretch, just one quarter, I think that Aaron Holiday would outplay his brother because their impacts are two different things. I think like since Drew Holiday's impact is so much higher. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Since his impact is so much higher, he would look worse. Like I'm trying to figure out how to word this. So if Drew Holiday were to stop Aaron Holiday, it wouldn't matter to us. But if Aaron Holiday stops Drew Holiday, then
it's a bigger
impact on the Bucks.
It's more of a lose-lose for Drew Holiday than Aaron Holiday. I agree. Like Aaron really has nothing to lose in that situation. Yep. So I agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's time we start wrapping it up. I think we had a pretty decent conversation here. Just a reminder to anyone listening, check out our pinned tweet on Twitter to sign up for that giveaway. We are 21 followers away before we give out a free jersey. So free jersey of your choice. Robert, thank you for coming on. I've asked you a few times. So
no, I'll try to get on a couple more times if y'all want me to.
For sure.
It was fun.
Thanks for
having me on. So
yeah, I definitely want to have bigger debates because you know how our debates are in person. We definitely get heated sometimes.
I'm all for it. So
awesome, man. Yeah, thank you for coming on. Thank you for listening to this episode of the We Know Ball podcast, and we will see you guys later. Peace out.